Hi, I'm Carcina. Oh, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
No one knows Carcino and none of these.
There's so much going on in the world, and I'm just giving my 2 cents on it. You go in and do a raid at someone's house, but you don't have an arrest warrant for them. Hey, what's up? Uh-oh, Sloppy's in trouble. Sloppy's in trouble. Wow. Sloppy is in trouble. Somebody better get sloppy. Oh my God, Sloppy's in some trouble now. It's trouble. Sloppy in trouble. Oh yeah, hit the like button, good people. We got some fresh off the presses. It didn't take long at all, boy. Didn't I tell you, boy? Y'all keep thinking that Diddy and Kanye, what they went through was something. They ain't never did what he did. They were like, oh, we finna sit back and see what's going on with your homeboy Drizzy Drake here. Oh, it's going up. Hit the like button, good people. Champagne sloppy jalopy. Boy, you done broke mama's lamp. Did you think them boys is gonna let you get off? Is that what you thought? You thought them boys was gonna let you walk? Your ass ain't gonna tootsie slide up out of this. You thought you could come in and disrespect UMG? Sometimes people forget the things that they leave behind. You forgot who was feeding you, boy. You bit the hand that was feeding you. You thought they cared. You see, here's a misconception. See, you were thinking like, I'm friends. Lucian is my friend. He care about Drake. He care about me. No, he don't. And you just finding that out the hard way. Now, it's very unfortunate that the majority of the people in the world are just finding out what's happening here. But Drake got himself involved in a trap. Okay? And today was very evident that the response was so quick, fast, and heavy that nobody saw it coming, but when it came, it hit like a brick. Champagne sloppy. Oh, you done screwed up. And now the big boys ain't finna play with you no more. Everybody knew this was coming, but you thought you was privileged. Now you gonna see. Now you gonna really see how your popularity is an illusion. Now you really gonna see what it's like on the other side of that glass, buddy. I ain't got to root for your downfall. You see, less than 24 hours ago, there was an appeal brief. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Hit that like button up so that we can get started. A lot of people are in here. Hit that like button up right now. Yes, sir. We're going to do it like we always do it. Yeah, so in an immediate appeal that was put in place, yeah, he's having his Negro wake-up call right now. In an immediate appeal that was put in place, Drizzy Drake, a.k.a. Champagne Sloppy, was called out in this appeal that one of the alleged people who did the killing, well, convicted, has just filed an appeal, and he's screaming Drake's name in the whole case now. He just filed an appeal for the death of rapper XXXTentacion, and Drake's name is now up in this case again. Oh, baby, Champagne Sloppy. Out of the blue, here comes the appeal. Oh, yeah, so this ain't no Cino playing around. I just hate Drake, and I'm going to just trying to destroy his name. You're making up stuff. Oh, no. This happened.
Essential part of that crime. When you went to spend that blood money on sneakers and jerseys, you revealed to the court the value you placed on the human life that was taken.
One of the men convicted in the 2018 murder of rapper XXXTentacion is now appealing his conviction, and his legal team is focusing a lot of their attention on a major celebrity, Drake. We are going to explain the connections and the arguments as we sit down with Mauricio Padilla, the attorney for the convicted killer, Dedrick Devon Williams. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Dedrick Devon Williams, who's behind bars for life for murdering rapper XXXTentacion, is now appealing his case, his conviction, his sentence on the grounds that he did not receive a fair trial. And this is in part due to what his attorneys say is the exclusion of evidence that pointed the finger or maybe pointed the finger at other people. And one of those people whose name has come up is rapper Drake. So
once again, Champagne Sloppy name is being brought up in this trial, and it is going down this time around. You ain't gonna have UMG having your back. Now you finna see what power is, buddy. You gonna be drug out in a trial you ain't got nothing to do with. They finna embarrass you. You thought this was over with the conviction. You thought the money and power, fame would make it go away? Have you ever played Have You Ever? Okay, Drake, let's play. Hit the like button, good people. Hit the like button up. Now, that didn't take long, did it? Did that take Universal long? Everybody in the free world knew who was responsible for this, how it went down, why it went down, the whole nine. Now, one of us sat here and said, man, what a coincidence. He just sued him and these people, and then this happened. I mean, like, haven't the world just showed you? Did he start suing somebody and saying, hey, I'm doing this and that? Next thing you know, here comes some people talking about in 1998, you grabbed my breast and I was uncomfortable and I felt woozy. From grabbing your breast? Yes. Somebody handed me a drink and I think it was from you. I'd be like, did I even know you in 98? It's crazy out here. And it's only going to get worse. If Drake had something to do with XXX, which my investigation, I did the whole thing on the Patreon, and we had all the evidence, and we went through all the circumstantial things that they talked about. This is going to just be a humiliation process for rapper Drake. That's all this is going to be. This is going to be drawn out to be a humiliational ritual for him. That what he's supposed to be doing right now is learning what not to ever do in life. And you better get back in line. But first, we got to bleed you. You gonna bleed. So they're gonna blow this thing out, and they're gonna push this. All this appeal is gonna be here doing your launch. While you got an album out with Party, they're gonna be talking about XXX. Hit the like button, y'all, so we can continue to move forward. We gotta like it up. That's right. Doug made him feel like he was slime in his head. And you saw what that happened to Thugger. He was on trial. You ran to Atlanta because you need a few dollars. No, you're not a colleague. You what you call a colonizer. Hit the like button up. If y'all new here, subscribe to the page. Hit that notification bell.
I want to quickly get you up to speed on this case before we get into these new allegations, these new arguments. Maybe they're not necessarily new if you break down this case. So last year, 3 men, including Williams, were convicted and sentenced to life in prison for the 2018 killing of the star rapper. And to be more precise, they were convicted of first-degree murder and armed robbery in connection with the shooting death of the 20-year-old artist whose legal name was Jose Onfoy. Now, the jury deliberated a lot. They deliberated for a little more than 7 days before returning a guilty verdict. This was for Michael Boatwright, Dedrick Williams, and Trayvon Newsom. Now, this murder occurred on June 18th, 2018, outside of Riva Motorsports. It's a motorcycle dealership in Deerfield Beach. It's a suburb of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And XXXTentacion had just withdrawn $50,000 in cash from a bank. He was leaving the store with a friend when his BMW was blocked by an SUV. In fact, surveillance footage from the scene actually captures this shocking moment as two masked gunmen, later identified as Boatwright and Newsom, emerged from the vehicle, confronted the rapper at his driver's side window. There is a brief but...
And you see the uncle run away. Where is academics when you need him? He probably right now trying to spin. So all of this is coming right back up as they filed an appeal. Yeah, he did. The prosecution tried to bring this all up in case the first time around, and they tried to elude everything to Drake. Oh, we remember the first time around. We know his name came back up. Now it's coming back up again because out of the blue, here comes this appeal.
That sending in a separate text message a news article about XXX getting shot. And I also have to mention the key testimony of the trio's accomplice, Richard Allen, who claimed that he was a part of this robbery and he implicated the defendants. He pled guilty to second-degree murder for his role in this killing. Hey, so before we jump into this story, I have something I gotta tell you about. I host and executive produce a show called Crime with Jesse Weber, and now it is launched on Spotify. Yes, you can listen on the go. And this show puts a spotlight on
Patanzo, which is his appellate attorney, has stated in the brief. There is so many errors that it takes a while to even break it down. One of the main errors in my opinion in the case, which I had to sit through, argue, and live it, was the fact that in December of 2020, I filed a witness list. The state's reaction to that was to file a motion saying we want the court to strike all of his witnesses, that's not even something that's legal or that you could do. You have to itemize who you want stricken. You just can't shotgun approach and say I want all of his defense witnesses stricken. But the state attorney did that in a hearing that I had to defend, myself in that motion. The court didn't grant that, but the court instructed me to file a pleading, which was the nexus in my defense witnesses and what nexus they had to my theory of defense, which I argued was inappropriate because at the end of the day, you're ordering me to give the state a blueprint of what my defense is going to be. But I was ordered to do it, and I did it. When prior to Mr. Onfroy, which I'll refer to him as X for this interview because his stage name was XXXTentacion, which was the victim in this case. Prior to him being murdered, he had posted on Instagram, if anybody kills me, I'm snitching right now. It's champagne poppy. I'm paraphrasing, but something to that effect, right? So imagine the decedent said prior to his death, if anybody kills me, it's champagne poppy, which is Drake's Instagram name. I laid out in extreme detail all of my defense witnesses list, which included many rappers, because at the end of the day, the victim in this case was a rapper. He had feuds, ongoing public feuds with not only Drake, but a lot of rappers that are either signed to OVO or related to Drake in some way, including 600 Breezy, which is a Chicago-based rapper, and a rapper that's from Toronto by the name of, he goes by Top 5, which is Hassan Ali. And I had to lay that all out in detail. The court was fully aware of my theory of defense. Prior to that, I filed a motion to perpetuate the testimony of Livingston Allen, which goes by the name of DJ Academics, because DJ Academics was friends with X and had posted long YouTube, content regarding this beef. He actually posted YouTube saying that he was on the phone with X discussing the issue and the beef that he had with Drake. And specifically, X had either said or posted something about Drake's mom, and he had posted a picture of a Drake lookalike with semen on his face. And he wanted DJ Academics to post it on his own site, and he said, I'm not going to do that. And in that conversation, DJ Academics says that you better be careful because even though, like, and I'm paraphrasing again, even though he's not a gangster, you may be pushing him. As a reaction to that conversation, X goes and says that he takes it out off the post off of his website or off of IG, and he says that his Instagram was hacked. I laid that out in my motion to perpetuate the testimony, which a motion to perpetuate testimony is when you have a witness that is relevant to your defense and that lives beyond the jurisdictional limits of the court, and that you feel that you're not going to be able to bring them into court. So I'm basically asking the court to allow me to go to California or wherever I have to go, depose this individual, and now with his deposition, if he doesn't show up, I could use it in my defense or in my case in chief, right?
So that's what he's saying. He has grounds to get a deposition from Drake because there's legs here. Now, Academics' name was brought up because Academics does what he always do. He instigates two people to go against each other. Instead of trying to end the beef, he's trying to keep it going and fanning the flames. And then when X sent him something, because he was XXX megaphone. He wasn't Drake's megaphone. He was XXX megaphone. See, before there was 6ix9ine, there was X. And that's how he came up. Oh, that's my guy. XXXTentacion. Yeah. That's my guy. XXX. And Joe Budden told him to his face, you are going to get this guy hurt. You're going to get XXX hurt. Joe Budden told him on Everyday Struggle. You're going to get this guy out of here. Yes, let's get the like buttons up, y'all. Everybody who's in here, don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, the whole nine. It's going down. Drake's name is in this appeal for this trial, and they want to get a deposition from Drake this time around because he has been named again. This comes right after his threat, pre-action petition to sue UMG and Spotify, Interscope Records, all these giants, because he's upset. Here's the thing, though. And I hate to keep bringing this up, MG. I talked about this on my Patreon. The Upset song was done before X died. You just didn't hear of it till then. The song was recorded way before then, and on YouTube. So I don't know. I know the lyrics make people go, well, damn. That's what happened in real life. But that song was released before X was even hit. So we're going to keep things fair. I'm just saying what's going on. I'm only giving you the facts. Now, the rest is on my Carcino for Life Patreon. You'll get the whole breakdown as what happened, why Drake didn't make it the first time around. But what he's telling you is that the judge wouldn't omit anything. Drake had a lawyer fly all in to say none of this stuff has anything to do with it. The judge went along with the program, and Drake's name was taken out of the situation when this guy said, hey, there's reasonable doubt here. We got legs here. Let me deposition this guy to find out what all we need to know. And this guy said, I gave a witness list with proof to have a witness there, and they said, forget about it. Forget your witness. Drake's not winning a lawsuit. That's why the lawsuit hasn't even been filed. Okay? It is a petition. It's a threat to say, I'm going to do this, and these are the grounds I'm going to sue under. If you look at the whole lawsuit, it's a joke. He's using stuff that's from DJ Academic's video that is incorrect and fraudulent. If he files that, he's an idiot. His lawyer that written that up is a fool. I'm like, you using a doggone guy who's not even real. He's showing you a fake receipt, a fake Zelle, everything. Now that guy would have to prove that in court. You're going to drag academics in there. It's going to be a big mess if they decide to file. Because UMG is acting like they don't care. File it. So this lawyer wants to depose Drake once again. So that's what he's trying to say. If I got witnesses, right, and they saying, well, it's a logistic problem because of where the person is, I will go to where that person's at and depose them there. That's what the lawyer says. That's what happens. Because Drake is in Canada. He would go and depose him there, but Drake was living in Cali. Yeah, says he wants $2 billion in damages. Okay. Let's see what that happens. Hold your breath and see if you're getting that.
So I did that, argued it to the court, and the court, in a reaction, basically said, I'm not going to grant your motion to perpetuate testimony. Just take his depo. Let's just take it. So, okay, fine. I set a notice of hearing, went and served Drake in his castle in Beverly Hills.
There's something that you mentioned, and I want to talk about this. So first of all, there was this deposition that was taken of XXXTentacion's mother, Cleopatra Bernard. She testified that Onfroy had this ongoing feud with Mr. Graham, Aubrey Graham, Drake. She said this feud with Graham included throwing shots at Onfroy and lyrics from one of Graham's songs. You mentioned that controversial statement that he made, if anyone tries to kill me, it was Champagne Poppy. The question I want to start with as we get into the Drake conversation, were you arguing, or his appellate attorneys arguing that Drake was a part of this killing, that he was the one who did this? Or are you arguing that it should have just been allowed, you should have been allowed to present evidence to suggest there were other potential leads that law enforcement really didn't look at into this case? So again, what exactly we're suggesting? Are you suggesting that Drake had a part in it, or that just it wasn't looked into and it shows a sloppy investigation and not a fair trial?
Well, in the brief and in what I was arguing in court is the latter. We are a defendant has every right to defend himself and to show reasonable doubt wherever it may be, and to fully investigate and articulate to a jury an alternate shooter defense, or an alternate, a defense where someone else, committed this crime. Am I going to sit here and tell you that Drake was holding a gun or Drake? But the facts as they are stated by X's own mother is that she knew about the beef with Drake and with Migos. She knew about the violence between Migos and her son, where there was a violent episode. She knew about 600 Breezy, which is a known admitted gang member from Chicago, going to South Florida and posting on social media saying that he's blicked up, which means that I have a gun, and she was concerned about it. She testified in the depot that she discussed it with her son. She testified that the reason that she wanted additional security with him the day he died was because of this beef with Migos and everything that we're discussing. So it was relevant, and for many months during the trial, January, February, even February 7th of 2023, the judge is agreeing with me. Okay, now there comes a moment and a hearing. He goes ahead and Drake hires after the judge enters a rule to show cause, basically saying a purge date. You have to appear for depo on this day, or I'm going to do a writ of bodily attachment. He then goes and hires Brad Cohen, a friend of the show, friend of mine as well, an excellent attorney. And Brad files several motions, motion to quash the subpoena, and he files a motion for protective order. We go back and forth, and the judge says, and the first time that Brad shows up to court, he says, you know what, I'm gonna quash the rule to show cause. He's hired counsel. You guys can communicate and figure out when this step was gonna happen. Okay, so we go back and forth. We can't agree to it for various reasons, and I'm not gonna get into settlement negotiations
Sure.
on the show, but we can't agree. We go into court February 24th, I believe, on his motions. At that time, James Beard, which is the process server that served Drake, appeared as a witness, and I wanted to show video that he took of the actual attempted service, where it shows Drake's bodyguards or the people that are in front of his house refusing to cooperate. It showed one of Drake's employees kicking the subpoena down the road that leads to his mansion, and the judge didn't allow me to show that. Despite not allowing me to put forth that evidence, the judge did a 180 from telling me to figure it out, coordinate it, take the depo, did a 180, told me, why are you involving him? Granted the motion for protective order, granted the motion to quash my subpoena, allowed Mr. Cohen to argue California law without having a California expert there, and basically kind of chastised me about why are you bringing them into it. And as a matter of fact, we had taken the deposition of one of X's relatives regarding this beef, and she denied it, and the court said in open court, even his relative said that it didn't exist. And I said, yeah, well, she's lying, because the whole world knows about this beef. So for her to sit here and say that she didn't know about it it's on her credibility. So despite all of this, he does a 180. He not only grants the motion for protective order, basically saying that I can now serve him again.
Okay.
And it quashes the subpoena, but the state attorney, sensing there's blood in the water, says, Judge, I'm going to renew my motion to strike all his witnesses. Okay. Or tennis, no notice. And he says, I'm not going to do that, but I am going to strike Mr. Graham. So he struck in the middle of the trial. He struck Drake from my witness list.
Wow. You hear that? Now, you see that? A lot of stuff that you hear is illegal. Everything you heard there that happened, that wasn't an accident. You see how the judge flipped his whole story after he first told him to go there? Then he changed. Because I wonder why the judge was so aggressively against this guy for involving Drake. Why are you involving him? I'm like, the judge literally said that in the court. Why do you keep involving this man? It's like you just sent me there, Judge. And then we got on tape his bodyguards kicking the doggone subpoena out of our hands. Kicking it out of his hands. Damn, Drake looked fruity as hell on that picture. Like he got Botox in his cheeks. Damn, he looked fruity as hell. Now, oh yeah, fair use, Zach. Now, here's where it gets interesting. They unstrike his witnesses because they realize that's illegal. How are you going to strike all of the witnesses? Saying we got what we want. We got 3 black Negroes guilty. Give them life. Job well done. They didn't care about a black man's loss. They didn't care about any of it. Hit the like button, y'all. Like it up. Oh, no, because it's going to get even more crazy. You think it's crazy already. Oh, no. Because, see, here's where it gets even more insane. Why? You cannot have another lawyer there present to argue that case if it goes to trial. Like I had a situation here with someone in California. Had they went through with the lawsuit, my lawyer is here in Chicago. My lawyer is not licensed in California. Even though he knows California law, he has to find a lawyer in California to stand with him in court. If it came down to court, so that guy can be there to quote California law. You're going to have a California lawyer there, someone with a California license. Drake's lawyer has no California license, and he's in there arguing California law, and it was able to stand. That's egregious by itself, and it was allowed. He has no representation there from California, none. Right then and there, they've already violated that whole case. And then a state's attorney says, okay, we're going to remove the strike of your witnesses, but Drake is stricken off the list. He can't be on the list. Wow. Well, you got to realize he was the hottest artist in the world at this time. He's getting ready to drop Scorpion. And he thought this thing was buried and dead in the dirt. Then he sues UMG, threatening them, threatening billionaires. And all of a sudden, guess who gets an appeal? And guess who name they screaming? Drake's. This is only the first step for Drake. Oh, it's going to get a lot worse. UMG is getting this started early. Oh, they just getting started with you, buddy. They're like, oh, you think we don't know where the bodies are buried? Who you think covered it up? So now it's going to get real interesting over here for Sloppy.
Which is completely inappropriate, considering the history of the case.
Talk to me real quick about why you think the judge did this, because in the appellate brief, and correct me if I'm wrong, there is an accusation that the court might have been biased because of Drake's celebrity status. Correct me if that allegation is wrong. And in your opinion, why do you believe the court ultimately wouldn't allow the deposition of Drake?
I'll say that Judge Uson was a complete gentleman to me, and it was a pleasure to try the case in front of him. I do think that he made various reversible errors, and I think from the beginning he made a lot of calls that were unconstitutional, not legal. This being one of them. I don't want to speculate as to why, but when you're dealing with someone like Drake, which he's not a celebrity, he's a super celebrity. He's like in the stratosphere of fame. So when a judge does a 180 like that, I'll let the viewers or other people figure out why they think that it happened. But I'm not gonna speculate as to why it happened. But
no, I get that. I get that. I do want to ask you about this because this is another part of the appeal. And that is with respect to the testimony of this gang expert, which was excluded in a pretrial hearing. And the defense, my understanding, wanted to call Jesse De La Cruz, who they had claimed, discovered visual evidence that Drake could have had ties to the same organization as a co-defendant in this case, Robert Allen. And I believe the brief states, Dr. Cruz's research revealed photos of Mr. Graham throwing the same gang signs as Allen. And Allen is that accomplice who I mentioned before who testified against his co-defendants. But Cruz also revealed that people who knew Drake were allegedly seen in XXXTentacion's neighborhood threatening him before he died. The brief reads, social media posts showed these same known Graham associates were seen in Onfroy's neighborhood threatening him just prior to the murder. And then they say even more revealing is this connection that Cruz made to Drake's song lyrics, because shortly after XXX was killed, the brief writes, Mr. Graham released a song entitled Triple X with suspicious lyrics. SMS Triple X, that's the only time I shot below the neck. And Dr. Cruz found another connection between the murder and Drake's lyrics in the song I'm Upset. The song I'm Upset contains lyrics regarding Louis bags for body bags, the implication there being that Drake was referencing murder. But ultimately, Cruz was completely excluded from the trial, and the jury did not hear any of his findings. Mauricio, I have that right. And can you emphasize that a little bit more? Can you explain that a little bit more?
So what he's basically saying is that there's something called the Pelican Brief. And in that brief, gives them a breakdown of all the things that was there. Right? Fair Use Act, fair use, disclaimer, Copyright Act, fair use, this is purpose for fair use, criticism, comments, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. This is for fair use act only. We're not showing the whole broadcast. We're just going over the details and giving our commentary on said acts. Now, fair use. Now, all right, Bandana Lou, we said it. Now, what he's saying that is in this brief, just days prior, some people affiliated with Drake was in Florida arguing with Triple X before the murder. Now, 600 Breezy and other people who were claimed that they were allegedly affiliated with Drake was there. Well, we've seen this happen with Kanye West. We've seen it happen with Diddy. And now you're going to see it happen with Drake. And they let you know you have no real power. But everything was all fun when it was all Diddy. Then Kendrick just say, "Oh, y'all laughing at Diddy. It's all fun laughing at Diddy, but really, all y'all on trial. Y'all snickering and laughing about Diddy, and all y'all niggas on trial." Mm-hmm. Oh, it's definitely coming down. Don't forget, we're going to on the Patreon. We're gonna show y'all everything. We broke down this whole thing and what really happened with Triple X. And we definitely on the Patreon, we're doing what happened with Wendy Williams. Don't believe what you're hearing. Wendy has been permanently taken out. And we'll get into that. Why it happened, how it happened, everything. That's coming up. Yep. So if you're on the Casino for Life Patreon and you're a VIP member, you will see that video. She gone and ain't no coming back from where she's at. She's mentally out of it. And she's not coming back.
Yes. Okay. So Dr. De La Cruz did proffer to the court everything that you've stated regarding the song lyrics, the fact that Drake was throwing gang signs that were the same gang signs that Allen was throwing up in different social media posts. The court strikes Dr. De La Cruz, which is a known gang expert and well known in his field, has testified over 150 times in trials. They allowed the state to put their own gang expert, Detective Polo, which really bolstered a lot of what Dr. De La Cruz said regarding the necessity to bring out this testimony. I don't believe that it, based on Dauber, which is the case that we look at when analyzing whether an expert is if it's appropriate for an expert to testify. I don't believe that was a legal call. I think it was error for him to do that and not allow us to put forth that testimony. And we put up pictures of Drake with Lil Wayne throwing up a Bloods gang sign and other evidence that Drake is out there flaunting gang ties. We put forth evidence of Hassan Ali, which is top 5 out there openly claiming on social media and video that he's Drake's shooter. And part of the theory of defense is to show, listen, even though these people are entertainers, okay, there's a gang related portion of it. There's a gang related side to it. And X's own mother testified that she knew about this, that she knew about when 600 Breezy traveled from wherever he was, whether it's Chicago to South Florida. She knew about it. She talked to him about it. So this case had more than ample evidence and ample reason to involve a gang expert.
Exactly. As they did with Young Thug and YSL. Everything that you just seen happen, they did with Thugger. Right? They called a RICO. Drake has been putting up gang ties. He got a song called Mob Ties. So why wouldn't a gang expert be called? And Fresco Live, let me tell you something. The song was out before 6/18/18. The song was out before that. It was out before he died. And then it was recorded months prior. So you can't detail all the events of what happened in the song if it didn't happen yet. Where's Dick fits in well when you need him? That proves premeditated. I really don't, because that could be coincidental. So the labels pulled strings to get it off Drake. He played with them, and now they lifted the levies. The devil has not changed the game. New players just keep thinking it can't be them. That's right. So don't y'all forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the page so y'all don't miss nothing. And all of y'all should be subscribed to my Patreon. Their way we can speak without being censored. So you'll get the real gist of what's happening. Well, this was a big thing, so we had to definitely discuss it. Now, here's where it's getting even more insane, because it's not making sense to all of us, because we're sitting here listening to it right now. And oh yeah, definitely hit the like button. I know y'all just got here. A lot of y'all hit the like button right now, please. Appreciate it. Now, what he's trying to say is that the judge made a lot of errors in not allowing a gang expert into the trial. Why wouldn't it be a gang expert? Drake has a lot of gang ties. He's throwing up gang signs in videos, all of these statements. That would tie too much of the connection to the individuals in charge. He got a guy under him who goes out and claims, I'm Drake's shooter and I'm in a gang. And Drake is affiliated with this guy. He was just online making threats. He just got out of jail and was making threats on anybody from TDE. Talking about he shut it down and they can't come to Canada. Just making a complete ass of himself. Yeah. But here's the thing. Why would you think that? All of these connections, all of this dots, you don't get a deposition. I'm not saying Drake did a thing. I'm saying, why didn't he get deposed? Why was he above it? When all of this stuff was connected, he could have at least gave his deposition. Drake allegedly gave a statement to this lawyer to present in court, which was some legal mumbo jumbo written by somebody else and not Drake. And they said, well, will this please the court? And the judge was, that's enough for me. I'm like, my goodness, the judge was so one-sided on this. And it's like he got talking to once he gave this guy permission to go to Drake's house to get the deposition. So this guy goes to California to go depose Drake. He goes down the long walkway. The guy comes and kicks the subpoena out of his hands. They got it all recorded on tape. The judge would not allow them to play the tape in trial. Like, what is going on here? You are handcuffing this lawyer's hands behind his back. You have a lawyer come in who does not, he's speaking California law and quoting California law with no legal representation from California on his side. I know for a fact you can't do that. So I'm like, whoa, what is going on here? Yeah, Kendrick just said it on his GNS. Y'all was it was all fun and games, and y'all was laughing at Diddy when all y'all niggas on trial. Y'all giggling about Diddy, and all y'all niggas on trial. Yeah.
To be clear, though, you were allowed to argue that someone else could have been responsible for this killing because you cross-examined Allen on cross-examination, suggesting that he had this link to Drake. But my understanding is you're arguing now that the trial court had put limits on your cross-examination of Allen, that violated your client's rights. Am I misunderstanding that?
No, you're 100% correct. And they did it not only with Allen, but they did it all throughout the trial.
Okay.
With Allen admitted that his father, known drug dealer, known firearms dealer, as the brief states, produced at least one of the guns that was used in this. When I asked him about his father and ties to Toronto and drug dealing, the state objected, and the judge didn't allow that question. So it was a constant battle for me to try and basically do my job and show where reasonable doubt existed. With Allen, with Detective Curcio, the problem here is also that the state attorney, on direct of Detective Curcio, which was the lead detective in the case, she asked, "Do you have any information that Drake was involved in this?" And that was before the court struck him. So whatever the reasons may have existed, the moment that state attorney opens up their mouth and says that, now he's really at issue, because now
you're opening the door. You're opening the door to that coming in.
Yes. And not only was it an issue of her mentioning it with Detective Curcio, but she asked him, you actually were able to verify whether or not Drake was in South Florida at the time. So in cross-examination, I asked, why would you have to verify if he was in South Florida? Why? Because he's a person of interest. And then
now see, right there, key word, Drake was a person of interest. POI. That's why they asked, was Drake in Florida? Why would the detective ask, was Drake in Florida, if he was not a person of interest? So if this person, the detective, was looking at him as a person of interest when this was happening, why is it so far stretched for this guy who just wanted to get a deposition, to get Drake on the record, ask him some questions? Why would that be far off? Why are they so protective of having Drake not answer questions? Spooky, crazy, spooky, scary, crazy, hilarious, spooky, scary, crazy, hilarious. Oh, he's gonna perform that at the Super Bowl. I guarantee you that. TV off will be performed at the Super Bowl. Wowzers. I mean, wowzers. Yeah, there's no room for it. Pick-a-boo. Never got his ass whooped until he opened up that can. Yep.
I had to further ask, well, what did you do to, and I'm paraphrasing, what did you do to figure out whether he was in South Florida? He says, oh, my partner checked social media. So then I said, okay, so in a homicide case, the best that Broward Sheriff's Office has for a jury is to peep his Instagram. So it was basically breaking down the poor job that BSO did in their investigation and the tunnel vision that they had, and the fact that none of this was in the report. So you felt it important enough to check and verify whether or not he was in South Florida, but you never memorialized it in your report, and I'm not allowed to ask about it.
Well, did he also testified, Detective Curcio, that he learned that Onfroy, XXX, had been attacked by members of Migos, right? Migos is the rap group that's associated with Drake. Was that came in, and again, you weren't able to expand upon that?
Not only did that come in, but when I asked him in cross-examination, isn't it true that the first time that the name Migos comes out in this case was a month after the murder, in the first conversation that you yourself had with the cooperating co-defendant Allen? He didn't remember. I had to refresh his recollection, and right there in the transcribed conversation, it basically showed that Allen, the cooperator, said the name Migos in the first conversation that they had. So it basically showed that I wasn't making this up. Like, I'm not creating it. The facts in court, they're checking to see whether or not Drake is in South Florida. That was years before I mentioned it. And Allen is saying is talking about Migos to the lead detective a month after the murder. This is years before I filed anything regarding my theory of defense. So it was just to show that this is part of the case.
Right. And the argument is that your client didn't get a fair shake, didn't get a fair trial because you couldn't expand upon this and introduce this. I want to move quickly past Drake and ask you a couple different questions about this appeal. Speaking about Detective Curcio, I understand that there's also an objection that your team has with him providing opinion testimony on cell phone data. Can you talk about that real quick, what the issue was with Detective Curcio there?
Okay, well, the issue is that Broward County did not list a forensic expert, okay? And they tried to put forth expert testimony through someone by the name of Campani and through Detective Curcio, and the court allowed them to give expert opinion as to locations of cell phones and things that are specifically left to experts, because when you list somebody as an expert, then that opens up the doors to discovery that we can take depositions of them and put us on notice to the specific details that they're going to testify to as an expert. That didn't happen in this case. And what they allowed was this individual named Campani. They allowed him to basically put forth expert testimony, and he put forth a visual aid that he had prepared a week prior to his testimony. Okay, we were ambushed with it, and there he basically put little dots where he testified where the cell phones were exactly, and they allowed Detective Curcio to also give that type of testimony. Now, Detective Curcio is extremely experienced. I'm not going to take that away from him, and this individual Campani as well. But just because you're experienced doesn't take away the obligation of Broward County to do things correctly. This is a murder case and a high-profile one at that.
There's a number of different other points that are raised.
Yeah, and then the points that he's making is so valid, you almost got to ask yourself the question, how did they miss this the first time around? How did they miss all of this? So what the lawyer is basically saying is that don't blame me for just trying to throw celebrities' names in it to boost myself up. As a lawyer, I'm getting publicity. It's already a high-profile case. So I'm going to get publicity off of it being a high-profile case. What I don't want is for people to believe that this is the only reason this situation is taking place, is because I'm throwing their names out there, that their names were already being looked at in the investigation when it happened. He didn't get the case till about almost 2 years after the death, when they would start doing the trial. That's when he put in his motion They wanted to put in a motion to have them well, you want to make sure you have everyone together doing whatever it is that they do. But no, I never looked at it that way. I looked at it from a point of an appeal. I look at it from the point of saying, okay, these people here don't really get it yet. And in order to get it, people have to pretty much get in line. And when he starts talking about the other things in the case, the detectives were making grave mistakes. Like they brought up the Migos names. They wanted to see if Drake was in Florida. So they already looked at Drake and Migos as people of interest when this case started. So when they first started the case, they were looking into where Drake's location was, what was going on with the Migos. These defendants were already bringing these names up. So it wasn't the lawyer. It wasn't his choice. It wasn't his preference, in other words. I don't watch the NBA Cup games. Someone would have to pay me to watch those games. Baca's got a weird case. Why is he around? He's a certified PDF. That could definitely be argued. Yes. He said, Dot don't have to perform it. Just let Mustard drop the beat and the crowd will go crazy. Oh, they're going to perform the song. It's just going to be, they won't be mentioning Drake in the song. Mm-hmm. Watch the party die. Yeah. Don't worry, but when he pop out, guess what? We'll be waiting. They like, this is UMG. Well, I bet you these guys got some good lawyers now enough to just put smear on Drake's name.
Is in this appeal, there's things like allowing prior bad acts to come into this trial, allowing an out-of-court statement from defendant Newsom, which you argue was his Williams defense attorneys are saying was prejudicial. If you can, what's another big area of appeal? Is it any of those two that you really think could be problematic? Why your client? Again, I guess the idea is he deserves a new trial, right?
Yes, yes, and the two things that you mentioned are pretty egregious. The one of the Newsom is really shocking. Like, they basically on redirect of Detective Curcio asked them questions and brought in a hearsay statement regarding a completely separate murder investigation that he says that he found without authenticating the cell phone, and basically said that Newsom had told somebody in some dating app or something that he had buried money in his house. And so the judge buried money, he could be catching life, and a really incriminating statement. But Detective Curcio didn't have to authenticate that. They didn't have to show what cell phone it came from. Basically, he just said, I saw this in another case. And the problem is that my client is sitting at the same table with this individual that now the court has allowed this, extremely prejudicial information to come in. So that was a humongous reversible error, in my opinion, that affected not only my client's case, but everybody that was sitting there at table, including all the co-defendants.
Moving forward, though, what can we expect in terms of a timeline of appeal? When will this be heard? When will this be decided? If a new trial is granted, how does that work? Because now it's about the timeline of events. What should we expect?
You know what? I don't practice appellate law, and those are questions that I don't really want to give misleading answers to.
Okay,
so I don't want to give the wrong answers regarding appellate. I don't really do appellate law, but at some point they're going to file a responsive brief, and I think that the court could invite. I think the way it is nowadays, the court can invite oral argument. When I first started practicing law, you had the right to give oral argument. I think now it's only by invitation when the appellate court wants to hear your arguments. But yeah, I mean, listen, when I read this. This was an 11-week trial. The jury was out 8 days. It's not like if the jury didn't think about it and came back in 90 minutes and convicted our client. The jury struggled. They had to have struggled because 8 days is. I've never had a case that the jury's been out that long, and it was clear that they had questions, and I really wasn't able to properly defend my client. Mr. Williams did not get a fair trial. When I read this, I think there's like some kind of a defense mechanism when you try a case for 11 weeks that you start forgetting things. When I read this, it brought it all back, and it reminded me of really how unfair the judge was with Mr. Williams, and the detrimental effects that it had for me to be able to properly defend my client.
Now, let that be known. As we're sitting here and hearing all of the statements that was made, they've made no real defense as to why they omitted certain informations from this trial. Why certain people were restricted or prohibited. They allowed a lot of things to transpire in this case that would never be transpired anywhere else. That's the bizarre part, people. That's the part that's very bizarre, that sticks out to me like a sore thumb. They're letting this guy get away with a lot of different things, this judge, and it's a lot of people in place. It's not just the judge. The whole judge demeanor changed from the moment he told the guy at first, like, I don't care, go, depose the guy then. He goes to do a deposition and depose the guy. Now, when he does that, he comes back. The guy got a whole different attitude about it. The judge is, why are you bothering this guy? Why are you doing this? Somebody got to the judge. That's common sense. I'll be like, you sent me down there. And then when you go down there to depose him, and then Drake's bodyguards kicking the doggone subpoena out of their hands, everything. They were attacked. They were attacked. Don't forget to support Law and Crime. Subscribe to them. Fair Use Act. Oh no, first Kanye. First Kanye, then Diddy, now Drake. It ain't fake news, Mike D. They filed the appeal and they filing it on the grounds of Drake. The guy who's doing life is filed an appeal so that they can get a chance to argue their case correctly this time. And they're bringing up Drake's name in the involvement in the case. They want everything to be investigated. Things weren't investigated clearly and fully, as they said the first time around. That's what they're stating. So now they filed for an appeal. They filed the appeal. It's not fake. I know. I'm not making this up. I know y'all see my name and say, oh, there goes Cino, making it up. Trying to hate on Drake again. There goes Cino. Nope, buddy. Not my bag. So now they filed the appeal right after Drake threatened with a pre-action lawsuit, meaning that I will file this lawsuit if you don't comply. And they like, come on, Sloppy. Go on and do it, Champagne Sloppy. It ain't our fault the people don't want to listen to you. And I mean, they said that kind of cold. But as to what really went down in the case, well, we're going to take a look, see. Shall we take a look, see? Now, we're going to see what's under the hood. Because like I told you, this is on my Patreon. Let me make sure. Okay, there it is. Extension. Yep, there it is. I knew I had it. On my Patreon. Live for the whole world to see. We did the whole truth behind the XXX murder case. Only on the Patreon do we have it. It's not on my YouTube. And that's about a good hour breakdown on what happened in this case, that the guy talked about it, and we did it back in May. Now, a lot was in this video. Let's see if we can start it from. He went to talk to this bitch ass dude. This is, look at me. This guy is blowing up. His song is getting all this attention. He goes to jail. So right now, he's got the hottest song in the world, but he's in jail, which is crazy right now. So while he's in jail, his manager at the time is none other guy who wants to manage him and control him and get him to the next level is somebody we all know.
Adam 20 Jew.
Adam 22. This loser was his manager. He was managing him while he was in jail. And then his homeboy was right by his side. And this is what led to Drake trying to reach out, saying he feels his music. He wants to get in contact with this guy. Like, I got to get in contact with him. He's incredible. So this is going like, oh, okay, man, I mess with Drake's music. All right, I'll talk to Drake. Like, yeah, man, do want to help me out? That's great. So while in the middle of this, Drake don't, contact, nothing's going on. And, X go to jail, do his thing. And while he's in jail, he sees Drake go on stage and perform a song that's identical to like Look At Me with another artist, and they're on stage performing the song in like Amsterdam. And boy, did it ever go up with XXX. He was pissed. And all hell broke loose.
And that's where we're going to leave that. I'm going to put the pin up there, so I'm going to pin it on the front page. So therefore, if you're on the Patreon, on my Carcino for Life Patreon, it's on the front page now. It's pinned up there. So if you want to see the truth behind the whole thing from beginning to end, there you go. You'll have all the details. And we do break down that case and what happened. Nobody's going after Kendrick. Now, of course, they know what's up. He said it was a good video, too. Well, thank you. Oh, it's a lot of stuff y'all don't know out here as far as what was happening. Like, this stuff goes all the way back to the 90s. Remember the child superstars, Alfonso Ribeiro and all of those teen 90 people they used to have, like Rock On and all those little teenagers like Corey Haim, the two Corys, all those people. What happened to those child actors? We know Alfonso Ribeiro became known as Carlton Banks, and now he does like hosting game shows and stuff. Oh man, it's crazy. If you only knew. Right, Pink Floyd used to hang out with Yoko Ono, Michael Jackson, yeah, it was a girl named Susie. She was very close to Michael Jackson during that time. But yeah, they gave Drake permission to use this Michael Jackson song. And once he used the Michael Jackson song, it was Oh yeah, man. When you start looking at things from the perspective of what's supposed to happen, you start seeing people come up. Yeah, Drake had another record deal in place. Drake chose this slave contract he was signed to because nobody else really wanted to give him a chance. But it was a record company label that told him, hey, we're a small label, but we're going to give you what what we think you deserve. Had he signed with that smaller label and then went to another label, he would have had more control of his career. But he felt like being signed with Lil Wayne brought him out when he never needed Lil Wayne. He didn't need Lil Wayne. He had The Best I Ever Had. Lil Wayne isn't on that song. That song was a smash. He had Successful. He had everything. He did not need a Lil Wayne feature to be hot. Drake had that going for him. His problem is he started to fall into the identity of the people around him. And once he started taking on those characteristics, it clouded his judgment. And he started making decisions that was very counterproductive to how he was as a child and how he grew up in this business. His biggest selling records was when he was not gangster Drake. When he was the guy who was heartbroken, trying to get the girls, that's when he was selling those records. All the girls love Drake. Once you tried to go street goon, trap guy, you sliding and, dumping on the ops. Once you start going down that road, that's when your records didn't sell that much. So don't blame Kendrick Lamar, not like us, when the records show you was on a decline. For All the Dogs was crap. Honestly, never mind, crap. Those numbers was sloppy. They were horrible. Right. You was Marvin's Room, Find Your Love. You was all of these things that was the fans and the people they loved you for. You want to try to prove you something, and Back to Back messed you up. The success of Back to Back messed your head up. Ever since that song now, you are the biggest intimidator in the game. Now Drake's a battle rapper. Because you lost your identity. You start being this island guy. You're tune for your tune chop. Trying to talk with this fake accent. Then you sit there and try to do all these different tones and voices. When you do your interviews, you try to sound black. Yo, yeah. So when I sit there and I try to, so when you see him talking, that's a phony voice he's using to try to sound more like I'm down, I'm hip, like he's trying to be cool. But when he dropped 100 gigs, see, you exposed yourself, Sloppy. When you drop that 100 gigs, you exposed to the whole world what you really sound like behind the closed doors when you was working on those songs. I think that we need to put a little bit more bass on this because, I'm not really feeling this one. I want to, can we put that back on? Yeah, that's what you was really sounding like, homie. And they were like, my God, is that his Canada voice? Boy, change gears and speeds like a goddamn bike. Well, them boy changing speeds up, shifting gears. Yeah. So that 100 gigs just really exposed how phony you was. And then you sit over there and try to go right 15 speed That boy changing them gears up. Oh, thank you, Express Me. Right, exactly. That boy changed up. Yeah, he the first person sewer now. Forget that. He the first person sewer. First person sewer is the big three. Me, my lawyer, and Steve. And his new album, Her Lawsuit. Yep, Champagne Sloppy. Right back at it again, doing what he does. That's his Jewish side. Hey, the Jewish people like, hey, man, don't blame us. He's trying to sue other Jewish people. We know better than yeah, the Jewish people like, look, we know which Jewish people not to play with. Her lawsuit. Certified lawyer boy. For all the documents. Oh my God. Certified lawyer boy. That's what happened to him, man. So this guy he's been in the shadow of everybody for a long time. He's been in the shadow of these guys, emulating everything that they do. Now that he's seeing what's the cause of all of it. Don't forget to subscribe to the page, y'all, and hit that notification bell up. And I hope you guys join that Patreon because y'all gonna want to see what's coming next. I put the Truth Behind video up there. Yeah, it's VIP members. That's a VIP. That's a very important video. So yes, this is for my VIP members for all the documents. There's the link to the Patreon. I put it up. Well, the like button is free. So you can like this video for free and subscribe to this page. We give you the pretty much the broad strokes here so you can get it and understand what's really going on. Drake decided to become, because he likes that gangster mentality, like he's a mobster and all this stuff, instead of just focusing on the music. The music is what makes the money. Only thing that comes along with that is jail, homie. Jail, court cases, lawsuits. That's what comes along with this, and death. And now you got to get more security. You got to watch your back because your crew went and rolled down on this crew. And these people really live in the street life, Drake. They ain't got no other choice. They don't have the ability to make records and stuff like you do. So this is all they got is the streets. Them going to jail don't mean shit. They know people, everybody in there they know. So what? Sending them to jail don't do a goddamn thing. So what does it be for them to pop you? They don't care. They live by street rules, street codes, and you playing games out here and thinking because you got money, you can just pay and put money on people's heads. You know, this is the the nonsense that you promote in your records when the people that followed you, this was never your demographic. Mm-hmm. Right, I know he coming out like he want fried chicken. Like, give me a fried chicken leg. Yeah, I want a fried chicken leg. No, you don't. You want you want a chicken breast. No skin on the chicken. You know, well, no skin on that chicken, boy. You eat matzo ball soup, buddy. It's about what he own. Yeah, the Pistons can only win a game on Tuesdays and Fridays. So they thinking about having the Pistons win and be one of the teams going to the next round in this tournament that they got in this cup. That's gonna like make me chill out. They're gonna be like, chill out, Sino. We got the Pistons winning, man, on Tuesdays and Fridays. Come on, man. Talk about the doggone cup. F that cup. You mean the ashtray? That's a big, gigantic ashtray. You know, goddamn cup. Mm-hmm. I've never seen the same spiral this bad. Well, that's the problem. Most people haven't. Most people haven't seen anybody spiral out of control this like wildly, and they just going like seem like they're going towards the wall. I'm on my way to a Diddy party. It's supposed to be an all-white party. I'm not wearing all white. They're gonna have to deal with it. Man, day after Thanksgiving, man, that's the day everybody normally lose their life. It's that crazy. All this crazy stuff start happening and going down during that time. Drake made some bad moves. Yeah, and by being affiliated with people, you know, I'll let you know, watch the video on Patreon and you'll see that'll be my response. So I won't even answer that. Man, I wanted those shoes, those Noctas. Oh, the orange ones. They like the Bears colors. Man, I wanted to get them shoes, but they were Drake's. Uh-oh, Bustas! Turn my TV off, turn my TV off. I turned my TV off, I turned my TV off. It's not enough. Thought LeBron had some pull, but it wasn't enough. OKC is a better team. Thought it was enough. They so stupid, man. They ain't got enough. No, it ain't mustard. It's Buster. Busters! Somebody had to do it. LeBron do got a bag. He got a big ass Louis bag that's got a hole in it. And his game fell right through the bag. God damn. Man, it's a hole in my bag. Thunder up. Turn this TV off. Turn the TV off. They gonna turn Drake TV off. So anyway, let me get to the Diddy party. I'ma holler at you. I just came from a Diddy party. Y'all seen that on the Patreon, right? Me at the Diddy party. Oh my God. They won't let me upload the photos for some reason. I'm trying to figure out what's going on, y'all. I'm still trying to figure that out. It ain't me. It ain't me. Cino live at the Diddy party. I was sitting in the cut. I got a little mini video of what I could show you down at the Diddy party. I'm trying to upload some photos for y'all so y'all can kind of see what it was like. It was crazy, scary, spooky, hilarious. Absolutely. So shouts out to Kwame Brown Bust Life, Law and Crime, who really did a great job with the breakdown with the lawyer. Kwame Brown Bust Life, Armando Black TV, Welcome to HD IITV, Sports Talk with Jose Rodriguez. And we out the door. You know what I mean?